2 years ago, on Juneteenth 2021, KBLA Talk 1580 launched with a promise to give disenfranchised fellow citizens a voice in current political, economic, social, and cultural issues with an empowering, sustainable, and restorative language. Everybody's gotta live a life under the sun, under the sun, under the sun, under the sun. As we enter our third year, we are delighted that KBLA Talk 1580 consistently emerges as the talk station of choice for African American listeners. In a vigorous public opinion research study, the 2023 African American Media Issue Survey finds that for the second consecutive year, KBLA Talk 1580 remains the most trusted, credible, and reliable media source in Southern California for African Americans and beyond. Furthermore, 80% of those surveyed agree that outlets like KBLA Talk 1580 provide honest and authentic content about the issues most important to the Black community directly from Black journalists who understand the issues that need to be addressed. At KBLA Talk 1580, we remain committed to curating conversations that matter to you. Thank you for your continued support. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. The station that sounds like the city looks. The city looks.
Get beep 911? Do you send text messages with 911 in it? Like, just that's your code. Hit me back. I used to blow somebody's pager up. Okay. Not a particular person. I'm just saying in general.
I was gonna say RSVP after dark.
Yeah, I didn't get no 911.
No. I'm talking on the page. Whomever, your homegirls, your friends. Ooh, I got some dirt. Ooh, let's hit the spot. Ooh, let's go run down on somebody. Maybe all of that, but you know.
I was going to say, call in now if you got a 911 from Jill
If you got a 911 story, 800-920-1580. Well, welcome to the second hour of RSVP with Jill Munroe, right here live on KBLA Talk 1580. Before we get back into more baseball talk with Nick Hamilton, we have to say goodnight to our guest, Jeandra LeBeauf. Thank you so much for your sparkling commentary. Your presence is always appreciated.
Thank you.
Please tell everyone listening where they can check you out.
Please follow my YouTube channel. Jeandra was here. Please follow me on social media. Jeandra_LeBeauf on all of your platforms. I am the only person on planet Earth with that name. So you should be able to find me.
I mean, and hit her up. She has some great interviews coming up. And, you know, she's always at the hot red carpet. So, and she'll be back here. She will definitely be back. So thank you, Jeandra, for locking in.
Thank you.
Now back to Mr. Hamilton. You were cooking on your baseball topic. So let me ask you this, because we talked about youth sports and kind of the marketing to them. I want to ask you a question about the upcoming Major League Baseball game, All-Star game. Well, not the All-Star game, the draft. So MLB is trying to follow in the footsteps of the NBA. They want to pump up the draft, make it more exciting. For the first time, it's going to be on ESPN this year on July 9th. They are making it kind of like a festival thing, you know. But here's the thing. We know that the draft process to get to Major League Baseball is actually much different. It's not like the NBA or the NFL. You go spend a year or two in college, you come out that way, or you can go to the G League or something like that. So talk to me a little bit about the process to get to the MLB, and if you think their efforts to try and make an event around the draft similar to the NFL and NBA will work.
Well, I think if you go in at what I believe 18, I believe it's the age, you go to the minors or you spend 3 years in college, either one. I think what Major League Baseball is trying to do, and I applaud their attempt for trying to get, and there were a lot of black players that were drafted even last year when it was here in Los Angeles. They had a great big
because the All-Star was here last summer.
Was here last year, and they did a great big stage presence for all of the draftees and had their families out. So it was great to see a lot of black American baseball players be drafted. Now the question is, will they get opportunities? I mean, even with the Los Angeles Angels, I had a chance to talk to Joe Adele, who is tearing it up in AAA baseball, but has yet to really get a full opportunity or a full season to be able to showcase his skill set, even when he's riding high on the hog or when he's struggling. And my statement has always been, you can't get better if you keep getting sent back down and then sent up, sent down, sent up. And that's something I even asked him. I said, how do you mentally balance all of that? Because it's got to be tough to balance. Say, hey, I'm on a major league roster, and then 2 weeks later or a week later, I'm sent back down because this guy's coming back off of injury, who was currently on the roster. So I think what needs to be done, I think, like I said, I applaud Major League Baseball for what they're doing with this the televising of the draft. I think that could help. But also, again, it goes back to what I've said all the time, and I'll keep saying this. It's money and marketing. You keep marketing to these individuals like you did in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. You'll get an influx of players. I mean,
Reggie Jackson had gum, Mr. October.
I mean, look at Barry Bonds.
Right.
Barry Bonds was part of the biggest home run derby that we've seen. We still talk about that. You know, whatever you think about, Barry Bonds is still the home run king.
Right.
So whether you think about him or not, I always tell people, show me the evidence. But at the same time, you were still talking about Barry Bonds, along with Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. And Major League Baseball didn't care because they had butts in seats. It was when they finally got out of the into the black.
Do you think the game was better during the steroid era?
I think it was more entertaining. Because I think you attracted large crowds in various stadiums that normally sometimes wouldn't even get large crowds. But when one of those three guys were coming into town, it was must-see TV. And I think you can, if you have to get back to that, not to say with the steroids or the PED type of thing, but I'm saying just get back to that excitement and capitalize on that marketing and that excitement. I think it's going to take some time, but I think it can grow to that at some point.
What's up, Andy?
No, I was gonna say, Aaron Judge had like a pop-in season last year, but
Right.
the publicity wasn't really there in comparison to like Barry Bonds or Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire.
I think also too, these players have got to start understanding the business side of sports. It's not just them going out and putting in that time and putting in that work and going up to the plate or going in the outfield or in the infield, whatever position they decide to play, and really making spectacular plays. I think it's the whole package. I think you have to start looking at the whole package. The reason why we talk about Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders, because they were the whole package. We talk about Ken Griffey Jr., he was the whole package. The dude wore his hat backwards. Everybody's like, yo, that's the kid. We knew anytime you wore that hat backwards,
Right.
it was Ken Griffey Jr., but he had a personality. He was able to extend beyond baseball, and I think that's another thing that some of these players have to realize. You have to extend beyond the game. You have to be marketable enough to be able to sell the game. The great thing about what Adam Silver and the NBA do, they make sure their players sell the game.
So, but here's a question. I think that they give them the opportunity and the space to market themselves. I think that obviously that's something that started with Magic and Bird, went on through Jordan, but I think that the NBA doesn't necessarily push them to individualize, but it gives them a lot of leeway in the type of things that they can do. How many NBA players are owners of media companies? How many of them own production companies? How many of them are producing content? How many of them have YouTube channels and things of that nature? Not necessarily the same with baseball.
Yeah, I mean, you have, I mean, like I said, you have Mookie Betts, who does something with Bleacher Report, who has a podcast with Bleacher Report, who's kind of opening up. And that's something I talked to Mookie about, just how is it being in that particular space now versus where when you first came to Los Angeles, you were kind of, a little reserved, kind of getting to know what the lay of the land. And it's new for him, but he's enjoying it. He's actually exposing some things as far as opening the windows and opening the doors to people, for these baseball players to kind of get to know some of these players and being more personable.
All right, well, when we come forward, we will have more from Nick Hamilton, CEO of Nightcast Media. We're going to talk a little bit about his show and where you can check him out. And I have some more questions I want to load up for him. In addition to that, we have a KBLA swag bag to give away. So get yourselves ready for that. I'm going to tell you how you can win that, all that when we come forward. You're checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is killing people. It's a powerful opioid, often made illegally and commonly mixed with illicit drugs. It can even be pressed into counterfeit pills that resemble prescription medications. Just 2 milligrams, about the size of a few grains of sand, can potentially be lethal. This isn't an ad to scare you, but it is an ad to make you think twice. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
The pandemic may be over, but many Angelinos could be at risk of losing the place they call home. It's important to know your rights as a residential renter in the city of LA. Did you know eviction protection still exists for unpaid COVID-19 rental debt that was due before March 31st, 2023? And that you have 5 days to respond to an eviction notice, also known as an unlawful detainer. Learn more about your rental rights at housing.lacity.org. Be informed, be protected, be at home.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
The rent is too damn high. KBLA joins you in calling for affordable housing. The LA Tenants Union is a diverse, tenant-led movement fighting for the human right to housing for all. The LA Tenants Union demands safe, affordable housing and union rent control. They organize against landlord harassment, mass evictions, and displacement, and mobilize for the repeal of the Ellis Act and Costa-Hawkins Act. The LA Tenants Union is on a mission to strengthen tenants' political power through education, advocacy, and direct action. To get help with your eviction or other landlord-tenant issues, take action for justice, or become a member, visit latenantsunion.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Race, culture wars, political turf battles, criminal justice and injustice, the courts. These are the conversations you won't hear elsewhere. My guests are leading journalists, celebrities, and sports figures, elected leaders, and influencers. They aren't afraid to get into it and say the quiet part out loud. With Ariva Martin in real time, your commute just became the most engaging part of your day. Tune in weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. or find us on YouTube. Ariva Martin in real time, when you want it straight, no chaser.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. Hey. Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, it's Jill Munroe, and you are checking out RSVP right here on KBLA Talk 1580. Now, before we came forward, I'm going to keep saying that because it sounds cute. Anyway, I mentioned that we have a KBLA swag bag to give away. So if you are the second caller right now, you will win a KBLA Talk 1580 swag bag. It's our gift to you as we celebrate our second anniversary here at KBLA Talk 1580. So hit up the power lines, 800-920-1580. You want what's in this swag bag. I've seen it. It's loaded. You want a piece of that. So back to Nick Hamilton.
Hey, I'm trying to get that swag back. Hold on. I can't get it?
We might hook you up a little something.
All right. Damn.
In the meantime, Mr. Hamilton, as we wrap up on your commentary about baseball, give us your final thoughts on that, and then talk to us a little bit about your weekly show on Sirius and tell us all the great things that you talk about on there.
Oh, man. Well, I'll say this really quick about Major League Baseball. I think they need to go to the WWE school of promotion, and I think they need to hire Paul Heyman as their managing coach to make sure they engage the fan bases. Because Paul Heyman, you saw what he did with Roman Reigns, the Usos, if you're a WWE fan, countless others, CM Punk back in the day. They need to put a phone call to Mr. Paul Heyman.
Go big or go home, right?
And you do know that.
So a point really quick before we talk about your show that Andy mentioned is that in baseball, there's a heavy international group of players in there. Do you think that is a barrier to the swag factor or the cool factor or the lifestyle factor that you mentioned?
Absolutely. I mean, we have the only person I've seen that was swagged out and had attitude was Yasiel Puig, and they got mad at him for bat flipping. You know what I mean? And I think
that was highly entertaining.
But it was. But remember, the reason why you had such an influx of international players from Central and South America is because Major League Baseball invested, because they said we can get basically 3 for 1.
They would go down there and put those academies and those camps.
Raid the fridge and bring them to America. and we don't have to put this money. Well, we're paying $6 million for this one player from Long Beach or Compton. We can put $6 million and get 3 or 4 different players from Central or South America.
So I know the fans in the chat have been loving your takes all night. You bring the heat. So tell us a little bit about your shows where they can hear this all the time from you.
Well, you know what? I can't do it alone, so I got to give shout out to my co-hosts, which are Jackie Ray, and my producer extraordinaire, Jake Warner, who's the Dr. Dre of audio engineering. I mean, he makes me sound so good. We just talk about sports, entertainment, culture, tech, whatever's going on that week. We try to capture it and just have fun and have real conversations. Some things you'll agree with me on, some things you'll disagree with. As long as you listen, I don't care.
Tell them where they can check it out.
It's the NH Experience every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, Sirius XM channel 145, and also on the Believe Network and all streaming platforms. And then also we moved into digital television. So we have a weekly WNBA show that's kind of dedicated. It's not your typical, ESPN or anything like that. We just kind of lay back. We talk to players, current and former. We talk to different people just about the game. We talk about the fashion aspect. We talk about music sometimes. We talk about just whatever the culture is of basketball.
I mean, because to your point, the WNBA has stepped it up. Not that they needed to follow in the NBA's footsteps. They obviously have their own sort of establishment, but the fashion now, they do the runway walk, and they're bringing their own flavor to it. You have, well, she's not in the WNBA yet, but we know Flage, she's going to be there soon.
She's coming.
And
Angel Reese.
she has her audios stuff popping, her rap career popping. So like you said, that lifestyle component. Isn't the WNBA All-Star Game in Vegas next week?
Yeah, we'll be out there. The Hardwood 94, which airs every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, exclusively on YouTube TV, the NH Experience TV. So make sure you hit up youtube.com/NH Experience TV, and coming soon to Roku Television as well.
Okay.
We'll be out there giving you the definite, not just what's on the carpet, not just what's in the game, but we're going to give you the Sin City like you've never seen it before. Jackie Ray is the host. She does an incredible job. Got a couple correspondents that we'll be working with. So, it's just a weekly show, 30-minute shows, 30 minutes of your time. Come on and invest into it. It's fun. We're for the casual fan. We're for the on-the-fence fan, and then we're for the diehard fan as well.
Okay, so you give somebody a little bit of everything. And what are your personal socials? Where can they go follow you for more fire takes?
Oh, well, man, hit me up on the Twitter at Nick Hamilton 213. You can also catch me on Instagram at Nick Hamilton LA, as well as at Nightcast Media, which is NITECASTMEDIA. And also for more exclusive content, because I do have an interview with Flo J.
Okay.
That's coming out this week. So I do have an exclusive interview with her, as well as I have an interview with Babyface. I have interviews with Usher. I have interviews with the legend himself, Big Daddy Kane, who told me who his favorite current hip-hop artist is. You can find that and more on at nightcastmedia.com.
Okay, Nick with the heat. Well, I thank you so much for joining RSVP tonight. Always appreciate it. So, my VIPs, are you lighting us up? Are you lighting us up on the phone? I have this swag back here. And listen, I have no problem taking it home with me, or maybe Nick, sliding it to him. You better light up these phone lines. We are looking for caller number 2, 800-920-1580. Hit them up. Our next topic that we're going to cover is going to be about your guy, Colin Kaepernick. Yes, Cap is back in the headlines. And for me, I almost feel at this point, as much as I respect Cap, as much as we admire Cap for the things that he has done and what he laid down for as a man so that, others could stand up, so to speak. We respect Cap, but respectfully, I want Cap to stop talking about coming back to the game. It's been 6 years. There are so many new players in the game right now that have surpassed you. You have not taken one professional snap on the field in 6 years. See, Nick's going to stay here because he has commentary for this, because he's like, I can't let this go. Let me tell you exactly what he said. Now, we know he had one tryout last year with the Raiders, and that was like, But he says he's still an elite player. He would like to go toe-to-toe with Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen. He doesn't have any workout schedule, but he says, I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep fighting for it because I know I can step on the field and play. Every workout, every opportunity, I've had to show the feedback has always been positive. Everything from he's still an elite player to the workout was great. It was better than expected. I don't know if better than expected means elite, but Nick, I know you got some fire.
I'm calling Cap. And the reason why I say that is this. I was on board at first with Colin Kaepernick's message because I thought he was absolutely 100% correct. I don't think he did it at first to draw publicity to him. I think he did it for a better cause. And I think somebody captured it and said, oh, why does this dude keep sitting down during the national anthem? I think he talked with Nate Boyer, who was a former Green Beret. That's why he took the knee, because
Right.
A man who served in the military said, hey, I don't find this disrespectful, and my brethren don't find this disrespectful if you take a knee. That's why he took the knee. He could have elected not to and been stubborn, but he didn't, out of respect. Then he started, what the biggest mistake he made was opting out of that deal and thinking he was going to get a bigger one. He got some really bad information. That's not the first time he's got bad information. He's got bad information throughout this entire process. He didn't speak to the media. He didn't use the power of the media to get his message and disseminate his message to the masses, whether you agree with him or disagree with him. The thing you can't call you. I hate when people try to compare him to Muhammad Ali, because Muhammad Ali was smart enough to use the power of the media, whether that was Howard Cosell or being amongst the people or going on various radio stations across the country to disseminate his message and really get people to rally behind him, that he was really suffered a true injustice because he was standing up for something that he morally believed in. And a lot of people believed in as well. They just didn't have the courage that Ali had. Colin Kaepernick had a golden opportunity to take this by the horns, and he fumbled the bag. He fumbled the opportunity.
Do you think it was fear?
I think it was ignorance, and I say that because ignorance meaning not knowing. He didn't know what was ahead of him. I don't think he anticipated it to be this huge firestorm that it turned into. But when you have other people speaking for you, whether it's your wife, whether it's another person, and you're not the one, you're supposed to be the head of the table. You're supposed to be the tribal chief. Yeah, you're supposed to be the tribal chief. There you go. You're supposed to speak for yourself and on your behalf. And when you don't, how can we trust you? How can we say that you're the leader of this movement when we can't even hear from you? And the other problem I have with Colin Kaepernick is the fact that he would blow with the wind, because when he did that thing with the Atlanta Falcons, because I had a photographer that was going to cover, he changed it at the 11th hour and switched it, which pissed off a lot of NFL executives,
Right.
because they were ready to sign. They were 25 out of 32 teams there looking at Colin Kaepernick, ready to sign him if he had passed certain measures. He switched because he felt like it was unfair to him, which it was not. I've talked to a couple of scouts that were there. It was not unfair. He just wanted certain things that they weren't willing to give him.
So you think he missed his window, essentially?
Oh, he definitely missed his window. And I have a problem with him not talking to black-owned media outlets. When he talks all this black stuff about black people and doing this and doing that and creating stories and narratives, well, why the hell did you not talk to black-owned media? Why are you talking to Sports Illustrated and The Athletic, but you're not talking to giving black-owned media and black creators an opportunity to speak with you and to pick your brain and to drop some jewels with them?
Especially when you say you're representing for them. So let me ask you this. Do you think that his comments now are just to garner attention for something else? Because it seems strange to me. I mean, obviously, we know we're a couple weeks out for NFL training camp, but is anybody that we know that is even looking for a quarterback? Obviously, I don't even know if his position is still, I need to be a starter. Sounds that way, but we know that even on a bench, what would be the value in bringing in Cap at this point?
There is no value, because from what I was told when he had the Raider tryout, it was more lackluster than a repeat episode of Love and Hip Hop. So I don't know I mean, some people are down in their own mind, but the reality is he's been out, like you said, 6 years. You know how much the game has changed in 6 years. You know how much, I mean, you've been out of the game. I don't care. You can lift weights and stay in shape every day, but that doesn't mean you're in football shape. And
Exactly.
you can take those hits, because one hit can damage you. And the thing about it is, I think Cap just likes the attention. I don't know the man. I'm not here to cast any aspersions on the man, but it just appears that every single year around this time, he starts putting his name in the hat, hoping and praying and wishing that he gets picked up by the NFL team, and that's not going to happen. The opportunity passed you by. Go do the things in the business world. I love the fact he's educating young kids about their rights, the Know Your Rights campaign, about their rights, about the Constitution, about the amendments, understanding how when dealing with police brutality and things of that nature. I applaud him for that. Keep doing that. Open up a publishing company. Start a film or a media company. That's fine. That's great. Get the word out that way. But as it comes to the NFL, man, have a tall glass and shut the hell up.
Okay. All right. Well, Nick Hamilton going out blazing. As always. You know where to check him out. Andy, did we get a winner? I saw the phone lines lighting up. Okay. So the winner of the swag bag is Crystal Wait. Crystal, congratulations. And you enjoy that swag. I'm a little jealous because, I don't even have my official KBLA sweatshirt yet or whatever. We're going to have to talk to somebody about that. But you know what I can do? And so can you. For those of you that did not win, you can hit up the KBLA store. That's on the website. You can get your own little collection of swag, and celebrate. Oh, and tomorrow's the last day, so make sure you're locked in all day. Speaking of, you're getting a double dose of me this week. I'll be back on for Dominique DuPrima tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. So pray for me, y'all. Pray for me. At any rate, thank you, Nick Hamilton. It is always a pleasure. Nick will be back. You can also check him out. He is on Monday nights on The Raw Report, which comes on at 6 o'clock here on KBLA Talk 1580. That's a lot of sports for the night. Sports is heating up, and I still have some more sports topics to go, right? So I'm going to get into a little NBA conversation because that is my thing, you guys. Well, it is right now because there's still hope. It's summertime. There's still hope. Zakiya Wright says this should be a sports show. Well, it is. It's a sports show. It's an entertainment show, culture, and lifestyle. So we're here for 3 hours. So for an hour, we discuss a little sports. The other times we discuss some entertainment, some celebrity topics, some hot news and trending topics. We got you covered here, basically. We are going to, make sure that when you get done here as a VIP, you are fully connected. So when we come forward, we're going to get into more sports stories. We're also going to talk about, in the next hour, we're going to continue on our journey down the top 50 hip-hop groups of all time per Billboard magazine. That was a heated conversation last night. We had a lot of debate, some bangers that came out that. So we're going to continue with that. You are listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Doug Davis, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. President Biden is opposed to expanding the Supreme Court.
Take a look at overruling Roe v. Wade. Take a look at what the decision today.
In an interview on MSNBC, the president argued that the court has done more to unravel basic rights and precedents than any court in recent history, citing the court's decision to strike down affirmative action programs in college admissions. He believes the vast majority of Americans don't agree with the decisions the conservative majority court is making. The homeless population in Los Angeles continues to grow. The latest count shows a 9% jump countywide and 10% jump in people living on the streets in the city. The annual point-in-time count was released Thursday morning by the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority. Olympic gold medal winning gymnast Simone Biles is returning to competition. The 4-time gold medal winner will take part in the U.S. Classic in Illinois in August. And that's the latest. I'm Doug Davis from the Black Information Network at BINnews.com.
When your ride fires on all cylinders, so do you. That's why Napa is on a mission to keep you in motion. With nearly 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores and over 17,000 Napa Auto Care centers, the Napa Network has everything you need to get up and go.
It's our anniversary.
Every weekday during the month of June, we're giving away gear from the KBLA.store to say thank you for your support of KBLA Talk 1580 as we celebrate our 2nd anniversary. Each weekday, a different host will be giving away fresh merch to one lucky caller. All you have to do is keep it locked to KBLA Talk 1580 throughout the day, and our host will tell you when to dial in and when. It's our way of showing appreciation to you for helping make KBLA Talk 1580 the most trusted, credible, and reliable source of information for listeners just like you. Here's hoping you'll be one of our lucky winners. But you can always head over to the KBLA.store anytime for the best in KBLA Talk 1580 gear for yourself and great gift ideas. Now, celebrating 2 years of being your go-to, we're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
Get ready to feel the funk with Charlie Wilson at the Hollywood Bowl on July 12th. Wilson brings 4 decades of hits like Outstanding and Party Train from his days as lead singer of the Gap Band and his award-winning solo career with hits like You Are and There Goes My Baby. In Vogue opens the night infusing killer vocals with class on hits like Free Your Mind and My Lovin'. Get your tickets now at HollywoodBowl.com. Hollywood Bowl, forever summer.
Are you looking to steer your career in a new direction? Driving for Culver City Bus can be your ticket to a long-lasting career with excellent benefits and paid training. Culver City Bus is looking for customer service and safety-minded bus operators to join the growing team. Culver City Bus offers on-the-job training starting at $19.10 per hour, uniform allowance, and health benefits. Culver City Bus is a great employer. Let Culver City Bus connect you with an essential service job. If you enjoy driving, seek real opportunities for career advancement, and passionate about making a difference in the community, then you are invited to join the Culver City Bus team. Start your journey today by submitting an application at culvercity.org/jobs. For more info, visit culvercitybus.com or call live customer service operators at 310-253-6500.
In our community, mental health struggles can sometimes go unnoticed. The suicide rate among Black youth has risen faster than any other ethnic group. Only 1 in 3 African Americans who need mental health care receives it. African American women are only half as likely as their Caucasian counterparts to seek professional mental health services. Even those who guide us spiritually can sometimes face their own challenges. 45% of pastors say they've experienced depression or burnout to the extent they need to take a leave of absence from ministry. As people of faith, it's time to acknowledge it's okay not to be okay. You can pray and get help. Visit normalizehelp.org for more information and resources. Join us in raising mental health awareness in our community. Funded by the Los Angeles County Department of Mental Health and the Champion Counseling Center of Faithful Central Bible Church.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just 1 dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Victoria Monet. I know this song. Is it not okay? Not Janae, Mila J. Okay, I'm stumped. Oh, this is Chloe. I know the song. This is Chloe. This is Chloe Bailey. Okay. All right. I saw her perform a little bit of her show of this on. So this is why I know it. This is how you know that TikTok and Instagram kind of works, because I definitely knew the chorus, and it's probably because I saw it somewhere on social media. I'm not too mad at that. I know people feel like Chloe's image and music is a little sexual, but some of it's okay. I think you maybe have to, no, maybe not. I think some of it is okay.
Have you seen the videos of this song?
I've seen a piece of it. I know it is like much of the other stuff and pretty racy.
It is very racy. For her, though, it's not like Glorilla. What's the other artist you mentioned? Pound Town type.
Sexy Red. But this is my question with that. I mean, and I think this is something that she's struggling with. She's a young woman. They seem to have led a very reserved upbringing, right? And so she reached a point where maybe she wanted to explore a different side. It doesn't mean that she'll stay there. I know that it is typically a trope, innocent young girl goes wild when they come out. It's a trope, but does it have some merit? I mean, these tropes come from somewhere, right? So could it just be that she's just, spreading her wings and trying things on?
I'm with you 100%. I feel like sometimes, artists and, actors and actresses, they need to go to that other extreme to shake off that kid energy or whatnot. I think it's necessary. Some people don't like it, but sometimes you do got to push the envelope.
I mean, I think people have a hard time letting go of their first image of someone, how they meet them, and sometimes they don't want to let go to that. You see that even, I feel, as with some of our legacy artists, maybe not now, I guess, because there's different ways for people to experience their favorites, and they see them in a lot of different formats. But I think one of the problems that artists had back in the day was, especially artists that came out as teen acts or young acts, is that they could not get past the growth of their audience. So their audience matured, maybe not in the same ways. Maybe they were doing something youth-like. I remember hearing about boy bands. They would always make them shave their face to keep them more innocent looking so that they wouldn't have facial hair. But meanwhile, the teenage girls, they want to see that facial hair. They're growing up. That's exciting for them. So I think sometimes that happens to artists quite frequently, where they are growing or trying to grow, trying to, expand their footprint, whether it's musically or on a personal side, and somebody doesn't think the fans can handle it, or maybe the fans just, aren't really interested in seeing them outside of that. It's kind of like typecasting for music. I don't know. Anyway, I said we were going to talk more sports, and we are. We are just a few hours away from free agency, and because we're in LA, and because I'm a Laker fan, and because it's we, like I'm French when we talk about the Lakers, shout out to that special, what is it, Andy? I'm going to continue to ask his name. He's not here tonight, but the person that said that I said we too much when it comes to the Lakers. Kwamel, yeah. Shout out to you, Kwamel. You may not be listening or active in the track, but I know you're listening, so that's just for you. So the Lakers obviously have a lot of options on the table. We talked about briefly last night them extending qualifying offers to Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura. We know that they're likely going to keep D'Angelo Russell as well, but that doesn't mean that everybody gets to stay in the house. They have let some go. They have decided that there are some people that are not worthy of a return trip to the Lakers. And I mean, it's understandable. Their season was I'll say this again. Their season was a success from expectations, but obviously towards the end, we just wanted more. So the Lakers have decided that they will waive Mo Bamba and they will not pick up the team option on Malik Beasley. Now, the plan is that to stay in contact with both players and maybe re-sign them to a different structured deal later on down the line. I understand the logic in that, but I think that me as a person, if I was a player, I'd be a little offended. Like, yeah, we like you, just not for this little money that you're getting, even less money. Maybe we'll have you back, and then you can sit on the end of the bench or roll to our G League affiliate. I mean, I guess if you're getting millions or close to that and you're doing what you love, it may not matter, but you have a limited time. So, get your bread, but get playing time too. We mentioned James Harden a little bit, and earlier it was said that Harden is not going to jump into the free agent fray. He has opted to pick up his player option of $35.6 million to stay with the 76ers on the condition that both sides are exploring a trade. They're looking for some place where Harden can go. We know that his ultimate goal is to go back to his second home now, Houston, where he can be comfortable and Houston loves him. He can ride out that train and, make it do what it do. We'll see what happens with him. I think that might be a little disruptive for him to get down there in Houston with those youthful players. I think he wants to be a little lazy at this point. I think that he has kind of let go of his dreams of a championship and maybe is convinced that he's going to take the Barkley route or one of those, and if he's going to do that, be in a place where people love me because he did do a lot for the Houston franchise. They love him in that city. And I don't know if the strip clubs still love him if he's still spending dough like that, but he also has a couple of restaurants down there. He certainly enhanced the nightlife when he was there. So is that enough to get a statue in front of an arena? I don't know, but you could. We're in a different era now. All types of things qualify you for that. But we'll see what happens with James Harden. If he was smart, I feel like if you're going to stay in Houston, since you opted in, run it back and see what happens in the fall. See what it's looking like. There's time. There's still time.
Run it back in Philly?
I mean, there's a new coach, Nick Nurse. Maybe he has a different plan. Maybe he can see some vision of Joel and James working out. Because the reality is James showed up. It just wasn't enough. He can't do it all by himself. If Embiid hadn't been injured, that might have went a little different way, no?
I think James Harden his heart is in Houston. He wants to be over there with the GM and all that. But if that happens, Houston has to get rid of their young bucks. Because James Harden, 30-something million, that's a lot.
I don't think that they can get rid of their young bucks because James Harden isn't going to take them to the mountaintop. He's not bringing them deep into the playoffs, so they need to develop these young players.
Well, just like you said, I don't know if James Harden's heart is in winning a championship at this point. So for those young players, I think if a trade was possible, them going to Philly would be a better opportunity for them to grow because they're going to play alongside an Embiid who really wants to play. And these young cats still have something to prove.
But I think that giving them the opportunity to play under Ime, a coach that look what he did in Boston. And you see what happened with Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals, to me, boiled down to a bit of coaching. And Joe, I can't remember his last name, but I know it's Coach Joe. A bit of his inexperience in that era. It's Joe Mazzulla. It started to show through, and I think that he got out-coached at the end.
That's a good point. I forgot that Houston has Ime Udoka. So on that note, I may change my mind on that one, but we'll see.
We'll see. You are listening to RSVP on KBLA Talk 1580 with Jill Munroe. When we come forward, we are going to get back into our music bag and continue on the list of the top 50 best rap groups of all time per Billboard magazine.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
The pandemic may be over, but many Angelinos could be at risk of losing the place they call home. It's important to know your rights as a residential renter in the city of LA. Did you know eviction protection still exists for unpaid COVID-19 rental debt that was due before March 31st, 2023? And that you have 5 days to respond to an eviction notice, also known as an unlawful detainer. Learn more about your rental rights at housing.lacity.org. Be informed, be protected, be at home.
Where are we on the lineup?
It's official. Avery is producing Main Street Music Days.
We need to be ready. We're going to have lots of people. What's the status on the new sound engineer?
They need an audio technician to keep things level from sound checks to encores.
Make sure audio from one stage does not compete with another.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates, and you can schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from the Indeed dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the Black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts, hosting community seminars with supporting Black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, and downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Are you interested in catching up on all the latest entertainment news, trending topics, and exciting interviews? I got you. Tune in to The Raw Report with Robin Ayers, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. I'm your host, Robin Ayers. Join me every weekday with some of the best entertainment contributors in the business as we break down what's going on, who's got next, and what not to miss. Only on The Raw Report with Robin Ayers.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
Hey, you are checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe. VIPs, how you feeling? I see you guys are still keeping it lit in the chat. I appreciate you all. Zakaya's in there commentating. She said, I should be a sportscaster. I appreciate it. It's one of many things I love. Tony Yayo's up there giving up all of the stats on Harden and the Rockets. He said the Rockets aren't giving up assets for Harden. Dude will be 35 soon. He said the Rockets would probably give him a 2-year deal if he was a free agent. I don't know. I think they love him. I don't think that they're giving up much, but I think they would welcome him with open arms because, one, he's going to put fans in the seats. And like I said, he was a beloved figure. They were one game away, was it, from making it to the finals when it was that Chris Paul Harden team a few years back. I mean, that is the furthest they have been in quite some time. And so, I think from that standpoint, there is the on-the-court thing, there is what is happening now, there is preparing for the future, and there's the reality of how do we sell things now, because it's what? A business. Andy, what you got to say?
How do you feel about Harden coming to the Lakers?
Off the bench?
Starting point guard.
Starting point guard.
We would definitely have to give us some assets for that. But
Harden can stay where he is. I don't really, not like that. I don't see the benefit. I don't see where his game and AD's or LeBron's is going to, help them out in ways. Right now, LA is hanging their hat on defense, right? That was one of the big things that they talked about. That was one of the big things in the second half of the season. Defense and James Harden aren't friends. So what we got them here for? Spacing?
Spacing, and to give AD and LeBron a break.
I mean, but I think that there are younger players that we need to develop our bench.
I'm with you 100%.
Our bench was pretty sheer, and that showed up as we got deeper and deeper into the playoffs. So I don't think that's it. And we would be depleted if we took him back.
Understood.
Leave him where he's at.
Understood. I think the Lakers need to focus on big men.
Yeah.
Because when I look back at the bubble, 2020,
Dwight, JaVale,
Jokic wasn't an issue.
Nope, not at all.
And I think if we had those players this year, it would have been a different story.
I agree with that. Well, like I said, we're going to get into our music bag. Before we hit up the list, I wanted to let you know that the second annual Blue Note Jazz Festival is taking place next month in Napa, California. Now, this festival has been bubbling up. It is a must-attend event now. So it's bigger and better than it's been. It's only the second one, so. But they have Nas performing. Nas and Mary J. Blige are headlining along with Chance the Rapper. It's a 3-day event from July 28th through the 30th. Other groups that are performing include Robert Glasper, De La Soul, Parliament Funkadelic featuring George Clinton, Diggable Planets, Ari Lennox, Big Frida, Corday, Anderson .Paak, and Knowledge, and more. So if you're looking for something to do that feels like age appropriate but still has that vibe of hip hop, head out to Napa Valley for the Blue Note Jazz Festival, because of course, you know, part of what we do here for the VIPs is keep you guys connected and in the know. Now, I know that you are ready to talk this hip hop. I know that you are ready. If you were sitting in last night for the conversation, we had a lot of debate about some of the acts. So I'm going to run back. We stopped at number 40. I'm going to run back the bottom 10, I guess, from 50 to 40 of the top biggest hip hop groups of all time, and then we will move forward with the rest. So at number 50 was MOP. We discussed whether or not that was worthwhile. We still have to see if that's valid. I mean, Annie Up was the jam, but kind of vacant on other things. 49 is Black Star. We debated on whether or not that was a proper position for them. We think they might need to be a little bit higher because they were impactful. They had a different sound. They weren't talking that violence at the time. They stood out from their peers. 48 is the City Girls. I don't know. Culturally, they are very relevant. One, as we discussed, there's not that many groups in hip hop, but culturally, period, poo. And all of that, my man, real bad and flued out, they put an dent in the culture that we are still seeing. People are still talking about it. It's still a debate on if you are a city girl or if you had a hot girl summer. I mean,
do you think they kind of paved the way for artists like a Lotto?
No.
A Glorilla?
Nope.
Was it Nicki? Like, who was that?
I'm going to tell you who it was, my personal opinion. We're going to take it back to the mid-2000s in L.A. Pink Dollars. That's a jerking crew that was out in L.A. If you listen to them, if you listen to that, they are the precursor to City Girls and all that kitty cat rat and all of that. You know what I'm saying? If you really, really think about it. Obviously, Trina, Little Kim, Foxy, they're the godmothers. If you want to take it back even further than that, there was a group that came out affiliated with NWA. I think they came out in about 91. They were called HWA. You can guess what the H stands for. Their first single was called Living in a H House. Okay? And the content was what you think it was, right? But they were there. So I feel like you can see the steady through line through all of this. But I think when the City Girls bought it back, we've talked about on this show over the course of the weeks how females are really running rap. And part of it is because they're giving you party music. They're getting, I want to get dressed and look fly and go out. They're giving, I'm having a good time, even if they're talking their mess. And we're not getting the same energy from the male rappers of this era. So I think that to deny their impact,
I'm with you.
You know,
throwing the Vixens on there as well too. I don't know if you
Vixen Entertainment.
I need that.
Okay.
That.
Look, see. There it is right there. I feel that. So the City Girls were at number 48. At number 47 is Ray Shrimmer. I think that we established that's a pretty good place for them. Maybe could be a little lower. I'm not sure. But they definitely had some hits. They had everybody in the world doing the mannequin challenge a few years back. I ain't got no type. I mean, come on now. That was an anthem for some. So I think that they are allowed to have that. Number 46 was Yin Yang Twins. You know, they definitely bought some heat, the Southern sound. Andy thinks that those two positions could be switched. I am inclined to agree with that. The Whisper song was a bop, though, and very innovative. You know, they whispered on a whole track, and you were like, beow, 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 beow. Anyway, number 45 was Pete Rock and CL Smooth. As we said, They Reminisce Over You was a extremely important record. The track, the samples, the flow, the tone. But after that, where are we? So I was reminded last night in the chat that there is a single called Straighten It Out from them. And I do remember that, and it had horns in it. It went crazy. So, you know, that's two, but how many people really remember Straighten It Out? Not many. So I don't know. We'll have to see if 45 is really the optimal position for them. And number 44 was Crisscross. You know, we know why they were the pinnacle. They were the first rap act to stay number one on the chart for 8 weeks. Obviously, they were young kids. They had a fashion movement behind them. They really gave us our first forward-tasting sample of Jermaine Dupri before he went off into not parts unknown, but, you know, spread his wings into other genres of producing adults, because for a lot of time, I think people really thought that all Jermaine could do was really kid acts and, you know, girl groups like Escape. Number 43 was Kid and Play, obviously, House Party, the comedy, the dance moves. You know, it was a good time. 42 was Heavy D and the Boys. Now, I think this is inappropriate. Heavy D is a solo artist. The Boys, it's not really a group. That tells you how many groups there really aren't in hip hop. And here's the thing too, considering what Heavy represented, the overweight lover, the smooth, suave, fly guy, and his, what he established at Uptown Records, you know, bringing other acts there, in theory, he should probably be higher. But we're talking about a group. We went over last night what the qualifications were for this. It includes performance, lyrical ability, meaning to the culture, a couple of other things. So it's a pretty balanced approach to how this list is put together. We're just questioning whether some of these should be here. Number 41 was Little Brother, who I admit I'm familiar with the group name, but I can't tell you a song, not one that they sing. So, that they rap, you know. You get the point. I'm not familiar. I'm not hip. I know of the group. I believe that they're from Philly. Is that it? I'll get back to you on that. But listen, wasn't for me. Number 40 was Onyx. Back the bleep up. You know, the bald head scallywags. And all of that, we talked a little bit about them. Obviously, they were very impactful with the way that they were dressed, the all black, the hoodies, the baldies, the boots. They were like the antithesis of Jodeci at the time or something like that. Very scary looking with those hardcore, intense raps and a mosh pit attitude. I think 40 is a nice spot for them. When we come forward, we'll get into the rest of the list. We'll talk some more music opinions. We'll get your opinions in the chat. You are listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good to me, then I'ma be great to you. If you stay down for me, then I'll stay awake for you. Surprise, slip my panties to the side. Give me your money, baby, I'll make it rain for you. Feel like you're cheating the positions I play for you. Surprise, tonight you get my freaky.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Doug Davis, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. President Biden is opposed to expand